All right, welcome. Today, we're going to take a really close look at the sales page for a supplement called DentalPrime. Now, to be clear, we're not here to say if the product is good or bad. Instead, we're going to deconstruct its sales pitch. Break down everything from the big, bold promises all the way down to that tiny fine print. So let's dive in and see how it all works.
So, the very first thing that jumps out at you on the page is this core promise. It's all packed into one powerful sentence. It says it's designed to support healthy gums and teeth, help maintain your oral and gut biome, and promote fresh breath. This single statement, it's really the foundation for everything else they're selling you on. So, let's start unpacking that.
Okay, so that's the big promise. The next logical question is, how do they say it works? Well, according to the website, it all comes down to one key thing.
And here it is. They say it's achieved with a unique blend of hard-to-source ingredients. Now, if you've looked at these kinds of pages before, this might sound familiar. It's a classic marketing approach, right? It makes it sound exclusive, like they've found something special that you can't just get anywhere. It's all about building up that sense of value.
So that just begs the question, doesn't it? What are these hard-to-source ingredients? Well, luckily for us, the sales page doesn't keep it a secret. They actually list them out.
Okay, so here's what's inside the tablet according to their site. You've got vitamin D3, vitamin K2, a specific kind of calcium. It's called microcrystalline hydroxyapatite complex. Then there's xylitol, cranberry powder, and zinc. These 6 things are basically the building blocks for the whole formula and all the claims they make.
All right, so we've covered the promise and the ingredients. Now let's switch gears and look at the business side of things. How do they actually sell this? Let's break down the pricing.
So they offer 3 different packages. If you just want to try it out, you can get 2 bottles, but that's the most expensive option at $69 a bottle. Then there's what they call the most popular choice, 4 bottles, which brings the cost down to $59 each. And finally, the best value deal is 6 bottles, and that gets the price all the way down to $49 a bottle. So yeah, there's a really clear push here to get you to buy more.
And that incentive gets even stronger when you look at shipping. You have to pay an extra $10 for shipping if you get the 2 or 4 bottle packages. But if you go for the big 6 bottle package, shipping is free. It's another little nudge, making that best value option look even better.
Okay, and to really drive the point home, they use a super powerful psychological tool. You've probably heard of it. It's called social proof. The site claims that a massive 97% of their customers order the 6-bottle package. When you see a number like that, it creates this bandwagon effect. You start thinking, wow, if pretty much everyone is doing that, it must be the right move.
Now, you might be thinking, buying 6 bottles of something I've never tried, that feels like a big commitment. Well, they have an answer for that hesitation. They put their guarantee front and center. Let's take a closer look at this safety net they offer.
They even pose the exact question you're probably asking yourself, and they say it's straight from their FAQ. What if it doesn't work for me? This is the perfect setup for how they plan to remove any risk you might feel. And their answer revolves around one huge number, 365. That's right, a 365-day money-back guarantee, a full year. I mean, that's way longer than the usual 30 or 60 days you see. The whole point is to make you feel completely secure in your purchase.
And they don't just throw the number out there. They wrap it in some really confident language. The site calls it an ironclad 365-day, 100% money-back guarantee. They go on to say that if you're not happy for any reason, you can just send back what you haven't used and get a full refund.
All right, now we get to what might be the most crucial part of breaking down any sales page, reading the fine print. That stuff that's usually hidden way down at the bottom of the page. This is where you find the really important context for all those big claims we just talked about.
First up is a big one, and it's pretty standard for supplements sold in the US. It says, statements on this website have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. So what does that actually mean? It means that all those marketing promises we saw, they haven't been officially checked out or verified by the FDA.
And then there's this next one, which is another legal requirement. It says the product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Now think about that for a second. It's a pretty stark contrast to all the health-focused language on the rest of the page, right? This is the legal way of saying, hey, this is a supplement, not a medication.
Okay, this next disclaimer is kind of fascinating, actually. The website straight up says that its content is based upon the author's opinion. Whoa, that changes things, doesn't it? It basically reframes the entire website. It's not being presented as scientific fact, but as one person's point of view.
And finally, after all is said and done, after all the promises, the ingredients, the pricing psychology, the site gives you this piece of advice. Always review the information carefully with your professional healthcare provider. So in the end, they're telling you to talk to your doctor. It really puts the final decision-making responsibility right back on your shoulders. So when you put all the pieces together, the big promises up top, the pricing strategy designed to make you buy in bulk, and then the critical disclaimers in the fine print, you can really see the whole architecture of the sales pitch. And that leaves us with a final question to think about. Now that you can see how a sales page like this is built, how does that change the way you look at information you find online?